Hi guys! Alright, so we're gonna talk about this trailer, and I have some unpopular opinions. Alright, you can crucify me from now. So let's just talk about the premise of this. Recent college graduate Jaime Reyes returns home full of aspirations for his future, only to find that home is not quite as he left it. As Jaime searches to find his purpose, he finds himself in possession of an ancient relic of alien biotechnology, the Scarab. When the Scarab chooses Jaime to be its symbiotic host, he is bestowed with a suit of armor capable of extraordinary powers, chasing his destiny as he becomes Blue Beetle. Alright, so let's talk about this. The trailer was pretty. I hated the background music. Okay, that was the first thing that really just set the tone for me not enjoying this as much as I should have. I was like, really? This song? Okay. They could have done better. It would have been more interesting if they, made a beat for him, but it's whatever. Something that like now anytime you hear it in any movie, Jaime finna pop up, but I guess now Jaime finna pop up. You can hear that instrumentalized version of TikTok music. Oh my god. Okay, so what did I like about it? Let's start with what I liked. At first I didn't really like the suit because I know it's a suit of armor. So the leotard spandex X bottom fit, like below the chest area, I wasn't feeling it too much. But then I was like, you know what? It's fine. It actually looks pretty realistic to how it looked in Young Justice, which is my highest preference for this character. And so that's okay. Quick disclaimer, my best frame of reference for this character is Young Justice, the television show. Yes, the one that I made the video about Megan from, so I've watched that show multiple times. So that is my biggest frame of reference for the Blue Beetle and Jaime Reyes as a character. Now that the movie is coming out, I will be going into a little bit more research, watching some videos, checking out a comic or two, just so that when I go to the movies I understand what's going on. However, maybe I shouldn't do that because then I might be upset as to what they decided not to put in. Anyways, this is just a disclaimer to say I'm not the foremost authority. This is just my opinions as somebody who watches a lot of movies and who also watches a lot of superhero content. So I have opinions on this because this is like one of my favorite genres of media and it's what I watch all the time. So yeah. Okay. I think the guy who is playing Blue Beetle, apparently he was on Cobra Kai. He looks like Jaime. He looks slightly older to be Jaime, but considering this a college graduate, makes up for that. No problem. He looks great. He was on Cobra Kai, so I never watched that, but assumedly that means that he knows a little bit of fight choreography, so that should make that look good in the movie. I remember the other guy that was in Cobra Kai that was in that terrible romance movie had some kung fu moves in that movie, and it looked pretty good from the clips I saw, so hopefully the man Xolo, I think that's his name, he looks good. Alright, there were some things that, what else did I like? I like the suit itself, not necessarily the Scarab. I like, okay, this is going to be a bit of like a two-faced thing. I like how his family treats him, but I'm not sure I like the family. So I'll leave it at that. Now, for things I didn't like, let's just get into what I mean by the family thing. I like that he has a family that's completely behind him and, is willing to protect his secret and is willing to help him with the Scarab, and it just is there for him. I really appreciate that. We don't get to see that very often, so it's cool, and I'm sure it's showing, how the Latin community can be. So that's probably a very positive representation of how, when you're in a big family like that, they really be there for you, Okay. Now, why I'm not fully feeling it is because it's giving a little Shazam. And it worked for Shazam, but, everything can't work for every hero. I don't know how I feel about his family being immediately involved. I'm not sure, because in Young Justice, he didn't really get too much forefront. So I'm not too sure how much his family did or did not know. I'm sure if I look up some wikis, they can tell us whether or not his family knew anything or not. But yeah, so I don't know. The way I see it is, one of the reasons why it worked in the Shazam movie is because those kids got powers. So majority of his family knowing about his secret worked out because they could also protect themselves. They didn't just know and praised him like, oh, you're so cool. Like, no, we know we can protect you and we can fight beside you. I don't know. That's obviously not going to happen in this movie. So it makes the family immediately knowing about it a little iffy for me, because in the writing process, how are you going to make it all make sense, right? Because his family's going to be in danger, obviously, which I guess can just be a plot point for the movie. Like, let's just put his family in danger, and then he has to, like, you know. But then there's so much that, like, okay, I would have been okay with the family being completely ingratiated into the knowledge of this if the Scarab was good. I don't like the Scarab. Originally, the Scarab has a mind of its own. It's literally a sentient being by itself. It has its own thoughts, wants, and desires. And yes, because it is a form of technology, it's kind of ingrained towards violence, but in lack of better metaphor, in the way that Lilo helps Stitch, Jaime helps the Scarab. And like I said before, this is how I saw it in Young Justice. So the Scarab is like, kill, 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 eviscerate, get rid of everybody. But Jaime would be like, no, 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 yes, no, 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 yes. And the Scarab, you know, they would fight. Sometimes the Scarab would take over him. I don't really see Siri, because that's what this is. This is Siri, or Femme Fatale Jarvis. I don't see that same relationship. They had comedic timing with the fact that Jaime and the Scarab would go back and forth. The Scarab ended up liking Jaime, and even though it had the chance to leave Jaime, he wanted to stay. And of course you could say he only wanted to stay because he would just, you know, end up back in the Reach, and he didn't want that, so he just stayed. But you could tell that the Beetle started to care for Jaime in its own way. I don't see that arc happening in future movies. That's one of the things that made Jaime's character so interesting. It's like Iron Man with Venom. I heard somebody say that. I agree with that sentiment. So for me, it's like that was already like a built-in arc, right? And I don't know if it's comic book accurate, so let me know down below. I would love to hear the comic bookies. Let me know the whole history down below. I would love to read it and see what you guys have to say. But in my personal opinion, I feel like it would be so much more interesting if they were true to that version in terms of that relationship, because now it just seems like a Siri AI that will just do whatever he says and protect him in the right moments. You know, like with the bus, like of course you're gonna, you know, stop the bus or cut the bus in half because, you know, it's a bus attacking him. But like the original Scarab, well, let me not say original, YJ, Young Justice, the YJ Scarab would, like, it would get ready to kill niggas that really weren't even a threat. Like it was like a faulty spider sense. Sometimes it was like, yeah, this nigga is not for us, so we need to get rid of him. And other times it would just be doing the absolute most. So for me personally, I really was hoping that they would have stayed with that. I knew about this movie for years, and I was hoping that DC would not do it. Main reason being, I feel like they're setting themselves up for failure. This is not the James Gunn thing, so I'm not going to bring James Gunn into this. They were setting this up before James Gunn. But like, I feel like the best way for them to win, and I guess James Gunn is kind of doing that with some of the characters he's going to be bringing in, so we'll see. I feel like the best way to go about the resurgence is to bring up characters that we do not have a frame of reference for, like characters that people would have to look up, because a TV show didn't just come out with a season with a character in there. You know, like Young Justice is out, Blue Beetle is in it, so it's like, you know, like give us a side character that we've never heard of and make it all about them. Well, let me not even say that, because they're bringing out Booster Gold and I can't. Oh, but yeah. So I personally feel like that would be a good course of action. That way you can do a weird story or build up a new team using those other characters that aren't just the Justice League characters, you know what I'm saying? So with the trailer, I thought it was interesting. They left enough there that we're not sure if people like the Green Beetle or the Black Beetle are going to show up. Those are the ones that people are thinking about the most. People whose only frame of reference for it is Young Justice, as mine is. These are the villains that they are hoping will show up. Personally, I hope that the red-haired lady is going to be the main villain, and if they get a second movie, which may or may not happen, it depends on what that nigga tends to do. But if the red-haired lady is the first villain, right, he has to fight corporate America, and then after that, like in the end, it would be cool if like they show the Black Beetle then. Because the Black Beetle is extremely strong. Like, the Black Beetle is connected to somebody from the Reach. Now, one thing I used to say, like, my sister, who I used to talk about stuff with all the time, like, I used to say, DC does not have the reach for the Reach. And it's stupid because, like, the Reach is a DC property, but I mean, like, the DC cinematic universe. Like, the way that they be writing stuff, they seem to not have the reach for their own properties. It's ridiculous. Disney does it too. Like, it's technically their stories, but when they remake them, it's like they didn't even understand what they just remade. DC has fallen under that same course. They be taking up stories that are theirs. They have all of the rights, unlike Marvel that didn't have all the rights for some of the stuff that they put out there. You have all the rights and the stories still look like this. Like, unpopular opinion, I think DC has better stories than Marvel, but unfortunately because of the writing, that is not coming across anymore. I think Marvel has incredible writing, X-Men over everything, but in terms of deeper writing, who has the better writing just objectively, it is DC. But you can't even say that in a public forum, because the guys will be like, what, you talking about the same DC that did Batman versus Spider-Man and that Justice League movie? And that, like, guys, it's a lot. I hope this Blue Beetle movie does good. I will be seeing it in theaters. It didn't infuriate me, but I'm not loving it. The Scarab is huge. Like, my issue with the Scarab is huge. The Scarab is supposed to be, like, some people are like, oh, why is the Scarab a girl? I felt like that for a second, but then I'm like, it probably would have been interesting if it was a girl but had the same murderous venom-like characteristics of the original Scarab. You know, like a murderous woman arguing with him all the time. And then if he had a love interest, it could be like, are you into me or are you into the Scarab? Like, that could be some real comedic timing. But that Scarab does not have a personality. It does not have, you know, something that will draw us to it the way people were drawn to the original Scarab in the YJ version of Blue Beetle. That's all I have to say. That's one of my biggest things about this. I'm not feeling it, guys. I think the guy is cute. He looks nice. He looks like he can play Jaime. He seems like a YJ version of Jaime. He looks good. We love us some George Lopez. The story is rudimentary. It's fine. I hope it's written decently enough. It's a first movie, so, you know, we can't complain too heavy. But I think that the Blue Beetle being sort of a Siri type thing is a big downfall for me. It's big. Because half this movie is going to be him trying to figure out this machine. And if I have to listen to this AI thing like it's Spider-Man Homecoming again, I'm just not. I'm not into that. Like, this is not Iron Spider, bro. Are you the Iron Spider? Or we're just doing Iron Insects? The Scarab is supposed to be alien tech, but alien tech that has symbiotic nature and has a bit of sentience. In YJ, when the Scarab thought he was doing something dumb, he would take over. Now, that's different from him being in danger. He could think, right? He could think or say that Jaime was making a foolish decision and take over Jaime's body because he thought Jaime was doing a stupid decision and attack from there. I don't really see, and you see, that would be interesting because it would add more depth to the Blue Scarab's character. I don't really think we're going to get all of that depth with Siri here. And that is my biggest issue with the trailer. Please let me know what your issues are down below, or if you completely disagree with me, or if you see where I'm coming from but you think they can make it work anyways. I'm open to that. I'm not as angry about this as I could be, because DC has disappointed me again and again and again. The only good thing they put out in these last 10 years has been Shazam and kinda the Batman movie. And I'll bring up why the Batman movies are kinda. The movie was kind of like a pilot. It wasn't terrible, and I think it can get better if it continues, but I don't know if they're going to continue it, so I can't, you know, but we will see. I really want to hear what you guys say below, so please comment, please say something. This video is getting way too long for this tiny ass trailer, but yeah, decent movie trailer. Hate the soundtrack, hope they do better, hope that they change the Scarab in post, because I'm not feeling it. Whatever, it's coming out in August, they're not changing nothing. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Goodbye, Susu.